Welcome to TechbrothersIT. In this video, we are going to learn how to execute SQL files which are stored in Azure Blob Storage or maybe even ADLS2 and by using Azure Data Factory. So first of all, let me take you to some files I have right here. So I have a couple of files here. You can have 100 files or whatever, depends upon your need. So in this file, I am creating only a SQL table called the DBO customer. Another file I have right here, and that has creating a table called product, and then I'm inserting some values. So maybe tomorrow you will have a just file for inserts, maybe updates for delete and all that. You can have multiple files, and then we can loop through those set of files and run in Azure Data Factory, and these files will run on one of the database that's also in Azure. So let's go ahead and take a look. First of all, I have Azure Data Factory open here, so I need to get the list of the files, right? But before I do that, I want to show you Azure SQL database on which I would like to execute these files. So here is my Azure SQL DB, and we can go right here in the query editor and log into the Azure SQL DB. And we have no tables or anything like here in this database. That's fine, because we are going to run those SQL file queries, and then it should create a couple of tables and insert some data. So first of all, let's go to the portal. Here I'm because we need to upload those files to some blob storage from where we can read. So here's my resource group, and in the resource group I have this storage. In the storage, as of now, I do not have any containers or anything, so I'm going to go to containers and create a new container, and we call this container input container, and we will upload these files right here. So go to the input, go to upload, and now we are going to navigate to two .SQL files, and we go to the input folder right there, and that's where SQL files right there. So I selected them, upload them. Now files are sitting right there. So very first step in our Azure Data Factory pipeline will be reading the files. So I'm going to go to Azure Data Factory here, go to the author, and we will be creating a pipeline. In the pipeline, we'll need to get the list of those files. I will use a get metadata activity here, and then we are going to go to dataset. Here we have to create a linked service. So we need to tell from where these file has to be read. We will go to Azure Blob Storage, and here I'm going to select CSV. Doesn't really matter any, but just we need to get the list of the files. So here go add new, and select your subscription, select your storage account, and let's name this one LNK storage. Okay, storage. Good. And now we navigate to the input folder. So these are the files there. We are not going to worry about the files. We are going to go to container level and get the list of all those files. So that's what metadata activity is going to help us with that. Hit OK, and here we will go to the field items and select child items. Okay, so from that container we would love to read all the files which are sitting there, and those are two files. Those are SQL files. Now once we have those files there, we have to use for each loop so we can loop through them. All right, so I'm going to use for each loop here and connect that. Now inside the for each loop I have to set some variables. Why? Because I would like to read the file, but that's going to give me, let me execute and show you what exactly is happening. So it is saying inside the for each loop put some transformation, so I'm going to put weight transformation. Let's execute. Oh, sorry, it is asking me, hey, you provide some items here, because I have to get the list of those files here. So I'm going to go right there in the items and click right there and say get metadata.output.child items. Okay, so it's going to get all the child items for me, and then we can execute it. Okay, we got the list of the files by using get metadata. Then we use the for each loop to loop through those files. So let's take a look here. So you see right there, the file names are right there. Okay, that's good, but I need to put them in some kind of way so I can read them. So what I'm going to do inside that for each loop, I'm going to use actually web activity. So web activity, why I'm using it here, because I would like to read each file into a variable, and then I'm going to use that variable further inside that lookup to execute those statements. So first of all, I need to build that URL. So what I'm going to use in the web activity. So we will use a set variable. In the set variable, right there, that's going to be connected to our web activity, and then go from there. So we have to create a variable. Let's go to the pipeline level, and here I'm going to go to the variables, and I'm going to create a new variable called URL, or I will call it a storage URL because that's what I would like to save. Now I'm going to go into the for each loop again, and here in the variables I'm going to go to variables and storage URL, and here I have to build that storage URL. According to my notes here, what I have to do, I have to build this thing. Okay, so https storage account.blob.co.windows.net, then container name, and then my file name. As you guys know, that file name is already coming from the items, so I don't need that. So rest of that part I need it. So I'm going to change the storage name here. So let's go back to storage, and we can see what is the name of the storage, TechbrothersIT storage. So I can copy simply this guy, go back here in my notes, and just place this guy here. Okay, so we are fine till here. Now what we are going to do, I'm going to copy and add the file name after that. So here that file name .txt, whatever. So that's what we are going to add. So go to the Azure Data Factory, set variables, and here concatenation will work for us. So at the rate concat, so that function is going to just do it. So I will place this hardcode values and then put comma, and then here I have to use the for each loop data item dot name. So that's the expression is going to just work fine for me. So this is this expression I'm going to copy here in the notepad, so you can use it later. So you will see right there. See, I'm building this complete URL for my file. So this is going to come the file name every time on iteration of the for each loop, but rest of that will stay as it is. So I will just put that in the description so you can use it. Okay, so we are good now, and our variable is going to be passed to the web activity. So go to the settings here, and in the settings we will be using that storage URL. Okay, so that's complete path of our storage and with the file name. Now here we will be using a get, and there are some settings you have to do it because we will be reading a file content that's coming from the path is coming from here, and we will be saving into the next we will be actually that will be coming as a response from the web activity. But here are certain things you have to do it. There are two changes you have to make in the headers here that I already have. Those are two versions here, so you have to put the MS version, and let me paste right there, and the value is gonna go right there. Without these two settings, your web activity is not gonna be able to read from the blob storage. Okay, so just paste as it is. These are just the specifications, for the web activity to work with the storage. So nothing to worry about that. So you can, it's a blob type, yes, and we go back here and paste. Okay, so now that's done, and the next part what we have to do, we have to select authentication. Here I will be selecting manage identity, and in the resource I will be pasting this URL. So all that information I'm copying and pasting, that's kind of hard coding, and this is what I'm using to make the web activity work. Read the file contents and put into the or actually just read the file contents, and then from the web activity we can use anywhere wherever we want. So I will have all that information in the description, so you can take a look. So now what's going to happen here, our metadata activity is going to read the list of the files. There is going to be passing to the for each loop. Inside the for each loop, as we are building our variable, every time new file names comes, it's going to be building a new file name, and then what's going to happen, that's web activity is going to take that value and read the file contents. So each time it's going to read one file content. As of now we did not find out the way to execute those contents. That's our next goal. So let's see. First I want to show you here. So get metadata activity, it got the file names right there. Okay, so there are two file names, and then what we have here for each loop, for each loop, it knows that there are two items, and next we are setting the variable that got completed successfully. See right there, so we have https, that's our storage, and backslash our file name. So that's coming right, And next what we have to do, this is completed successfully, and in the web activity we have some problem. So let's see what issue we have right there. So it is saying that error in authentication permission, the request is not authorized to perform operation. So there is some error happening right there. Okay, so let me go back and take a look. So in the web activity, let me see, this header is there. Okay, get so that's the URL, and we are getting that value. In the headers we have the right information. So okay, so there was a space here. I just want to make sure there was a space right here, so I have removed that. Now there is no space. Yeah, so let's execute one more time and see if that gives us error. So when you copy and paste, sometime you make mistakes. So in the header I had that. Now looks like it's working much better. Okay, I have this error again, authorization permission mismatch. One of the thing I notice here, see, the error is related to the permission kind of thing, authorization permission mismatch. So what I can do, see right here, I notice what is happening here. If you guys go to the web, and here I'm using manage identity, but I have not added the Azure Data Factory to the blob storage for permission. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go to the access control here, and here I'm going to find the role. So let's say in this case we find blob storage contributor. So I'm finding this role here, and what I will do, I'm going to click right there, user roles, and then I'm gonna do one thing, I'm gonna add that to it. So add role assignment first here actually, and then go to the blob and the blob contributor. That's fine. Hit next, and then manage identity, selected member, and here I will select the data factory. So select my TechbrothersIT ADF, select, and now I should be hit next. We should be fine here, and hit next, and then assign. So in this case what I did, as I'm using Azure Data Factory as managed identity here, I need to add that Azure Data Factory here in the access control. So I went to the permission access control here, and then added that that Azure Data Factory right here. So now we should be fine. Let's go back here and execute and see if we still get that error. That might take some time, even you have provided the permission. Sometimes it take like a few minutes while the permissions are synchronized and everything. So but let's give a try and see if this time still we are getting the same error. So if you guys notice here, I just execute after a few minutes and it's completing successfully. So the problem was, remember that we need to provide the permission on our blob storage as I'm using manage identity. So again, how do you do that? You will be going to the access control, you will be going to the add a role assignment, and then you will be finding a blob storage roles, and then you will select one of them and hit next, and then you will select your manage identity and select member, and then you provide your Azure Data Factory. That was the key to it. Okay, so we did that, and after that we saved it and it worked for us. So let's go back here and take a look. So get metadata activity does provide us a list of the files. Now for each loop, loop through them, and set variable is setting the entire path for us, so we can use in the web activity. That's the URL we are using in the web activity, and in the web activity we are getting the output. See right there, the response. So it is reading the entire file and then giving us as a response. So that's fine. What we can do now, we need to run this entire response on the Azure SQL DB. How you do that? That's another problem. Now in the Azure Data Factory there is nothing like that, execute statements or execute SQL task and all that. So there could be workaround. I honestly will suggest they should have it execute SQL task or something like that, but they don't. They have execute store procedure, but that's going to be complex in our case to use it for now. Here I'm going to use some trick, so I will be using lookup. So what lookup does, it run the statements and get us the final data to it. Okay, so in the lookup, most of the time we say select star from table, select or run a store procedure and all that. So we can do that. But in this case, I'm going to execute the web activity.Response. So whatever we got from the web activity, that's what we are going to execute in the lookup. So I'm going to go to lookup here and then go to settings, and here I will be selecting my SQL DB. So Azure SQL. We will create the linked service here and then go to the new. Then here we will be selecting subscription, selecting the server name, database name, and then I will be providing username and password. Okay, so this should be just fine now, and the test has been completed successfully. Hit create. And next, what we will be doing, we don't have to do anything, select table or anything like that. So select OK, and now we select the query. In the query, we are going to provide that output or response. So what is our web activities returning. So we are going to go to the add dynamic contents here, and then go to web activity dot response. So now there is a problem because our lookup activity, if this is simple select statement inside that, yes, the lookup activity is going to work just fine. But we have insert and create table and all that. That's not going to work. Lookup is expecting select query at the end. So that's the problem. So to eliminate that part, what I have done, I applied another trick. So I say concat, and here I will just leave this guy as it is. So first, you need this whole thing, put single quotes around it, and then put single quotes around it again, and then here we will say select one as you can say as Amir or output or whatever you want to say. Okay, and simply put two parentheses around it. So now it is saying it is expectant comma. So this is actually there is no this is what I'm going to show you. Okay, so that's what we have right there. So you did at the rate concat, and then inside that web activity.web.1.output.response. So that's the response we want to save or run, right? So this is going to concatenate. Then we have a select query at the end. So this is what it is going to do. It is going to say select one, at the end, whatever. So we can simply give some space, and we should be fine. And here I'm going to give some space and hit OK. Now we can go ahead and execute. As of now, if you guys remember, I do not have any table or anything in my SQL database, so that's fine. So now this two statements, they should work and create two tables and insert some data. Our metadata activity completed successfully, and then what we have there, most of the stuff is completed, but one of the thing did not get completed. So it's a lookup. So let's see what happened here. So if I go back here and let me refresh. If I don't know if I can refresh here or not, but let me try to refresh. So at least new query. There is no refresh button here. That's I'm seeing. So if I need to see the table, how they do that. So I'm gonna go back anyway and come back again. So here provide that username. Now we have tables, and let's see what tables we have. We have customer table that got created successfully. So we have no issue, and there is no data in the customer table actually. So if you see right there, customer table just executed as fine, and there is no result. The other query that got failed, that's the problem, because what we have there, we have a database operation failed. Well, there is already object customer. Okay, so probably it was creating another table, so that's why it failed. So let me see if I had a bad query right there. So let me go to my blob storage. And in the blob storage, let me see if both files have the same table name. So let's go create customer table and see what we had there. Here is a customer table, so I'm creating with the one, and here is my create product table. So I'm not even saying that create customer table. So why is failing? Okay, I got it. So there is a possibility we need to take a look. So here we go to the right there. And a few things I want to do it here. First, on the for each loop, I want to put this in a sequential. So all the queries run in sequential, so no problem at all. Then I don't have to worry about that. Also in the get metadata, let me see if there is anything. Okay, we are getting all the items, and then we go to the inside of that, go to lookup, and here it says first row only. I don't want that. I want to have all the rows. Okay, so that should be fine. And let me publish this one meanwhile, and I'm gonna go back and drop this table for now. So when these guys rerun, we shouldn't see any issue. Okay, so now we are good here, and there's no table. I wish there would be a refresh button here. I don't know why I'm not able to see that anything like here, you know. Oh, here, see, I was playing dumb here, was not able to see this one. Anyways, no tables are available as of now. We go to Azure Data Factory again, and this time we are going to debug again. There are two .SQL file settings in the blob storage. They should be read, and one is creating only customer table, and one is creating product table and inserting some arrays in the product table. So they are executing right now. Looks like we are lucky this time. It read all the files and then executed successfully. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We refresh, and in the refresh we can see right there customer table is created, and there is no record for customer, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we have a product table, and here I can have let's see if I right click here and say select top 1000, and you can see there should be some data. So there is a TV and computer. So that's how it is. Now if I go back here and I want to add more tables or whatever I want to do, you know, so we can do simply put more files here, and they should be running just fine. So with this let's say if I only want to insert the data in this client, so let me go back here, and let's put few files here. So I'm going to go to the input and SQL files, and let's create a couple of files here. So in this case what I want to do here, insert into customer. Okay, and now somebody will simply insert into DBO customer, and then values, and I will say 1 Amir. Okay, so that should be fine. And then now if I'll say insert, actually let's do delete. So delete from DBO product, and that's it, you know. And after that if you want to do something about it, I don't know. So let's save this file, and now we will upload this file. So in this case we are creating a customer table is there, so I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm gonna go right there, and I will just delete this part because customer table already does exist, so our code is not handling it. So, and the product table also exists, and we inserted some data already, so we don't want to fail. And let me do one thing. I am going to upload this file called from the input insert into customer data into customer.SQL. Let me rename. Actually, honestly, this doesn't really matter if you have .SQL or not, because we are reading the contents of the files inside and then executing them. So it doesn't really matter it's a .txt file or it is some other file. So in this case, see, it has a I can make a replica of this, you know, just to make a copy and paste it there. Okay, so edit, and then instead of saying Amir, I will say true. And then I will say this is the second test. Okay, and instead of deleting the records, yeah, we can just leave this guy as it is. Okay, so we can upload more files here. So whatever the files you want to upload, as long as they validate correctly and they can run it, you shouldn't have issue, you know. So the first time we had some issue because we were trying to run in parallel, and that created problem for us. So we should have run the entire thing in a sequential. So that I have done it now. Okay, this is completed successfully. Let's go back to the other table and take a look. So go right there and go to tables, and what we are gonna see here, we should be seeing the customer table, and we inserted actually multiple records in the customer, so there should be at least like 2 records. See, one record, this is one, and this is second record, when the product, if you guys remember that we had some records, and but we used the delete statement, so there is no records in this one. So I hope this video will be helpful, and as we cover so many scenarios, how to read the files and how to execute them, and use the web activity and all that, those scenario will build your knowledge, and you can come up with the more difficult scenarios from there. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe my channel, and I will see you guys in next video.